The next thing we'll talk a little bit about is escalations. And what we mean by escalations is, in the context of customer support, it refers to a situation where a customer is having an issue or they're dissatisfied and it's growing significantly and it's warranting urgent attention and intervention. And all of our customers define escalations some of them define them in different ways, and they even have different types of escalations as well. And then I'll be talking about keywords. So in the context, again, of natural language processing, keywords refer to significant words or phrases that carry high informational value, right? And they will stand out inside of a case. And if you were to look at a case yourself, you would be able to see what those keywords are inside of a case, and you'd be able to highlight them. And we'll talk about how you can have AI to automatically identify those. And then I'm going to talk about ontology libraries. So ontology is really just a system or a library inside of our application that lists and identifies, it categorizes, and it establishes relationships between different keywords used in customer support cases. And when we talk about that, I'll show you an example of an ontology library. And when you hear me talk about metadata, and I'm sure you all probably know what this is, but just in case, what I'm referring to are fields that you have on a case or a related object to a case, like an account. So an example of metadata field might be the priority of a case, the severity, what region it is, what product it relates to, any of those fields that you have at a case level. All right. So before we get into it, how do you actually develop this ontology library here? So AI has allowed us, prior to using AI for this, it was very much a manual effort where you would sit down with people and say, hey, what do you want to put in your ontology library? I'll figure it out. And people then started searching the internet for things that they might want to put in an ontology library. But now we have technology that allows you to analyze and identify these keywords or phrases immediately. And really, it goes through about 7 steps. I've just put 5 here on the screen. But the first thing is it does is the AI has to understand the text. So it reads and analyzes all the support tickets to understand its meaning. And we typically will look at about 2 years worth of data to get enough data to find the keywords that you would need. Then it goes through a process of actually breaking it down into smaller parts or words or phrases. And the technical term for that is tokenization. And then finally, it filters out, not finally, next step is it filters out common words. So for words that don't really carry a lot of meaning, so it'll filter out the, and, things like that get removed. The technical term for that is called stop word removal, in case you're wondering. And then the second last step is really going in and identifying those important words, right? This is the key to it. It's finding those phrases and identifying what they are inside of a support ticket. And then finally is the extraction piece, is extracting those keywords. And then allowing you to create an ontology library from them. So here's an example of a piece of an ontology library, because obviously it would be a complete eye chart if I put an entire ontology library up there. And you can see, it's like a tree structure where they're grouped together. So things that we have here is in the blue area on the left-hand side, we have things that might use them for is the skills that an engineer might need or have on a case. We also use these for case routing. Part of our case routing is to identify what skills someone would need to handle a particular case, but that's something completely different. But you can see I've put in some examples of things there, like SQL. Someone mentions SQL or Linux, or even you can see another group there within this for error codes. So you might want to put in error codes that someone's mentioning inside of there. And then you can track all of these and trend them as well, how often people are mentioning, certain things like Linux or error codes, etc. But another things like a lot of people tend not to think about when they're looking at ontology libraries is how that can benefit other parts of the business. So upsell signals is a good example there. So things like someone saying customize or, language such as someone saying they have insufficient storage, or they're having an error with using insufficient storage. You might want to put that in an upsell group, or in an upsell group as well, so that people can look for those upsell signals. And then finally, there's product related signals as well. So it could be product names, could be product versions, or even things like the word integration there as well. Things that you might want to group from a product perspective. But people even use other things as well. They put in competitor names inside of there. So they want to track how often people are mentioning competitors inside of cases. There's a lot of options as to how you can build your ontology library.